Yo, what's going on everyone? MXM here, and today I'll be covering all the perks you can find in Deep Rock Galactic. So let's get started. With the active perks here. First perk we'll be discussing is Field Medic. Field Medic allows you to revive your teammates faster as a passive ability, which scales up at 5% per level. So you start out with 15, it scales up to 20, 25, and 30 for the last level. It also gives you the active perk by which you can use to insta-res one of your teammates once per mission. So you get one insta-res per mission, and on the final level, when you res a teammate, it will cause the creature down nearby to flee around in terror once you revive that teammate, giving you a little bit more breathing space. Then the next active perk we're discussing is Heightened Senses. Heightened Senses has the passive which gives you an early warning in case you're about to get grabbed by a cave leech or a Mactera grabber. The active of the Heightened Senses is that you're allowed to escape from the hold of the cave leech or the Mactera grabber. Starting out with once per mission, and then on level 2 scaling up for 2 times per mission at 1.5 minute cooldown, and on the final level it reduces to just a 5-minute cooldown. Keep in mind when you're escaping from the hold of a cave leech or a Mactera grabber is that you kill the person in the process as well, so you instantly clean up that annoying little bug. Then the third active perk we'll be discussing is See You in Hell. The passive on the See You in Hell gives you a melee boost if you get hit by melee, so your pickaxe deals more damage. And the active is that 3 times per mission, once you go down, you can trigger a neuro explosion, which will electrocute and scare enemies that are nearby your body. As you all know, if you go down, you have a group of creatures usually clumping up around your body. This helps you to just clean them up quite easily, allowing for your teammates to jump in and get you back on your feet again. So if you skill this, you will get it more often. So the radius will be increased on level 2, and on level 3 the cooldown will be decreased. You have this trigger 3 times per mission. So the trigger doesn't increase, just the radius increases and the cooldown decreases once you level up this perk. Then on the fourth perk we'll be discussing is Iron Will. This is my personal favourite since it's the perfect fail-safe. Iron Will, what it allows you to do is to get up once per mission while you're down, for starting with 6 seconds and scaling all the way up to 12 seconds. So while you're in this state, you move harder, you hit harder, and your resistance slows and everything. What you gotta do though, if you do not find any source of health within the 6 to 12 second time span, you will go down again, and you won't be able to get back up. So once you proc your Iron Will, you gotta try and find some red sugar, a supply drop, or in some cases use your vampire to gain health from creatures. Like this synergizes really well with vampires, so if you run Iron Will, I highly recommend running vampire as well. Then next up, another fail safe you could say are the hover boots. Hover boots allow you to float midair for a certain amount of time, and it scales up, and the cooldown also decreases while you level it up. So hover boots are really good in case you have a tendency to just fall off cliffs like I do from time to time. I tend to not mind my step and all of a sudden disappear into the abyss. It's also really useful for scouts if you don't want to wait for your grapple to go off cooldown and you have to jump off your platform again. To get going on towards the next one, you can just jump off, activate your hover boots, and you won't take any fall damage or limited fall damage. Then next up is Berserk. Berserk allows you to go, well, berserk for 10 seconds, during which your melee damage is boosted and your power attack recharges super fast. So this synergizes really well with Vampire because it allows you to just instantly drain back a lot of health. But for what it does, it's not the best perk out there. But nevertheless, like once you level this perk up, it reduces the cooldown by 2 minutes each time. So you have a top cooldown of 4 minutes towards the end. Once again, the best thing it synergizes with is Berserk. Berserk synergizes best with Vampire. Another active perk you have is Dash. So what Dash allows you to do if you double tap shift is to get a quick short burst of speed, which allows you to get out of sticky situations. Whether you're about to get smashed by a Praetorian of a bulk detonator, run away, double tap shift, and you should be out of dodge just in time. It can be useful from time to time, allowing you to get out of sticky situations, but from what I've reckoned, it isn't that useful, since if you don't position, you can negate the need for this by positioning yourself correctly in a cave. Then after the dash we have Beastmaster. So Beastmaster allows you to charm a glyphid grunt to become your loyal companion. What's important to note is that it's not just a basic grunt. Any glyphid grunt can become your companion. So they can be just the regular grunts, they can be the armored grunts, or the slashers. If you have this perk, you definitely want to try to grab a slasher, or preferably an armored one, because they have the biggest health pool. and are more resistant to damage. So what this does once you level this up is you get a 100% damage increase per level, going all the way up to 300% increased damage. It can be a pretty useful perk since you will have an extra glyph to start tanking damage for you, but also to deal damage for you. And to keep in mind, your glyph will be called Steve. It will have a little blue outlining, and don't shoot him. Don't shoot Steve. For all new people out there, don't shoot him. He's a good guy. Then the final active perk we have to discuss is Shield Link. So Shield Link allows you to boost your shield and your teammate shield's recovery when you're close to each other with 50%. It's a really useful passive, and it will allow you to keep your shields charged a little longer. So the active ability on Shield Link is that you can overcharge one of your teammate's shields, which allows it to get more health. So let's say somebody's getting jumped by a whole lot of glyphids, for instance, or swarmers. You can overcharge his shield to make sure that he stays up. When you level it up, the only thing that really happens is reduced cooldown on the overcharge and increased buff of the overcharge. Like the first step is longer duration, and then the second one is in reduced cooldown of this. Okay, so now that we covered all the active perks, it's time to go over towards the passive perks. We'll start off with Friendly. So what Friendly does is it reduces the friendly fire damage taken and dealt by 50%. At first sight, it's like just learn to aim, but especially if you're going for crowd control type of builds, which is usually concerned with the driller, with the flamer, and the cryo gun blasting all around, it is very useful to grab this perk so you don't deal as much damage to your teammates. So this is probably a must-have perk for the driller, in my opinion. So the second passive perk is Second Wind. What Second Wind does, it allows you to sprint a little bit faster after you've been sprinting for a little while. So what it does, it at first decreases the amount of time that it takes to spool up, and then it will increase the amount of sprinting speed. It's quite a useful perk to help you move around the crates a little bit quicker, but it's not a necessity to have. We all know those moments when we're getting completely swarmed by, well, swarmers and glyphid spawns. Thorns helps deal with this to an extent. So what Thorns does is whenever you get a hit, the attacker that hits you also takes damage. It stacks up quite proportionally with at first 4, then an extra 6, all the way up to 24. This allows you to one-shot hit swarmers and spawns that attack you with melee. So especially if you find yourself going down a lot because you're getting swarmed by swarmers or by spawns, it is definitely a perk worth getting. The next up is Veteran Depositor. So Veteran Depositor allows you to deposit minerals faster, but also when you're around Molly, you also take a damage reduction. So it stacks up with increased deposit speed, and towards the end you get a 30% damage reduction when you're near Molly. What's important, it's quite a useful perk because it allows you to deposit minerals quickly, especially if you're getting swarmed. You can just pull yourself back towards Molly to get the damage reduction buff, and probably allow you to sustain the wave or whatever's going on for a little bit longer. Then more or less the cousin of the Depositor, we have the Resupply. And Resupply allows you to resupply, well, faster, and also gives you extra health when you're from resupply pods. So in that regard, it can be pretty useful. And in case you're using weapons that you need to reload, you also instantly reload all your weapons. So once you level this up, it just increases the speed at which you restock with the resupply pods and the amount of health you receive from this. Then we also have the Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth basically allows you to get more health when you're consuming red sugar, which stacks up proportionally to 10, 20, and then 30%. On the final perk, you also get a little bit of a movement speed buff, but it's 20% for 10 seconds is kind of neglectable in my opinion. Then we also have Elemental Insulation. Basically allows you to take reduced damage from elemental damage, so think about Frost Spit from Praetorians or other frost, or for instance magma damage. Can be pretty useful, but compared to other passive perks you can get, I think it's neglectable. And then we have the bread and butter of the passive perk slots. Whenever you advance far enough to start unlocking these passive perk slots, always prioritize them. You got one halfway through the perk point system and one towards the end of the perk point system. You definitely want to be to get those free perk slots available as quickly as possible, because they're going to make your life a whole lot easier being able to run 3 passive perks at a time instead of 1 or 2. So next up is Unstoppable. So what Unstoppable does, it reduces the elemental slow damage by 20%. So think about the fungus bog where you're bogged down in the gooey stuff, or the goo that the bacteria bombers drop. It also allows you to move faster carrying heavy objects. So this staggers up proportionally once again, just like every other skill. It also synergizes really well with Strong Arm. And what Strong Arm does, it allows you to throw flares further, but also throw heavy objects further. So this increased movement speed, together with the increased throwing, will allow you to quite quickly and clear, for instance, point extraction missions where you have to move a quarks around a lot. So these two synergize pretty well. And then once again, my personal favorite, Vampire. So Vampire allows you to regain 2 health at the starting level, which then scales up by 1 per level. So Vampire synergizes really well with Last Stand because it counts as a source of health for Last Stand. So if you use Last Stand, you get back up, you melee attack, you glyph it, and you kill it, you instantly regain health, you're good to go again. And while Last Stand is still active, you can get out of dodge while still maintaining health. So this combination of Last Stand and Vampire is the ultimate wombo combo for a failsafe. What's also important to note, it does not only work with physical attacks from your pickaxe. If you're the driller and you got the throwing axes, these also count as a source of health. These synergize with Vampire really well. So in my opinion, getting Vampire is also another must perk on the driller, because you got those throwing axes which allow you to regen health from range. And you can also pick these axes back up. So technically speaking, you have an unlimited supply of health. And after this we have Deep Pockets. Deep Pockets is pretty basic. It just allows you to hold more minerals. It stacks up 5 per level. Then almost the final perk that we need to discuss is Born Ready. Born Ready basically allows you for your weapons to reload automatically after a certain amount of time being socketed. So it starts off with 15, then 10, then 5. So if you hold your pistol for 5 seconds, it will automatically reload. Quite straightforward, pretty simple. And then we have the last passive perk that we discuss, which is It's a Bug Thing. It's a Bug Thing just allows loot bugs to explode when you get 2 or 5 meters within them. It's a nice gimmicky perk, but it's by no means necessary. So now start out with the basic perk setup that I personally use. We start pretty simple with Veteran Depositor. Allows us to deposit a little bit faster and also get the protection bonus when we're in mulling. We also have Vampire. The reason for this is because we use Iron Will. The reason why I like to use this combination is mostly because of the Last Stand capability it has, and it has allowed me to pull missions that were on the brink of defeat back by just having this combination, which allowed me to get back up and support my my last teammate that was still up, or just get up when everybody else was down and get some health, and then res everybody else just in the nick of time. Then the other passive perk we have is Second Wind. I just use Second Wind because I like to move around the caves a little bit faster and get from A to B a little quicker than usual. There's not really a necessary perk, and you can switch this out for any other perk that you would like. For instance, on the drill I will switch this out with Friendly, but more on that later. And of course, as active we have Iron Will because it synergizes really well with Vampire. And lastly we have Field Medic because if you, for instance, you get back up and you're back up on your own, because everybody else was down in your team, you get back up, you use your Iron Will, you gain health again with Vampire, you're allowed to rush in and insta-res one of your other teammates, which all of a sudden is not just you fighting off the hordes of bugs in your own, but there's the 2 of you fighting off the hordes of bugs together. Then we have another setup that I would like to call the Scout Point Extraction Clearer. So we start out with the basic Vampire Iron Will combo. This is something that will reoccur in all my characters because I got such good experiences with it, being able to get back up in a situation that you need to, or when you're hard to reach for your teammates. And after this we have Strong Arm and Unstoppable combination, which allows us to move heavy objects around faster and quicker. And then we also have the Hover Boost, so we can just like quickly jump up and around without having to worry about a whole lot of things. So what this allows is for us to quickly move around the caves using our grappling hook, and also carrying and throwing the quarks quite quickly and smooth. So if you want to solo clear a point extraction mission as quickly as possible, I'd say use this perk setup. It's pretty good. and this still allows the one failsafe to get up and run away. Even if you're not solo playing, this still allows for a quick and smooth point extraction clear. And the last setup that we'll be discussing here is the drill setup. It looks a lot similar to the engineer setup that I had. The only thing that's different is that we replaced the speed buff with the friendly buff, so we don't scorch our own teammates to death basically. I don't have the drill promoted yet, I'm still working on that, but probably what I would fill in here would be the field medic here, because there's no other perk that we really need on the driller right now. So it will be Iron Will, like get our last stand ability going once again, and then of course that synergizes with Vampire, and the second perk would be Field Medic. Give or take. So that covers all the perks in Deep Rock Galactic and some basic setups to use these perks. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to future content. If you got any more questions related to the perks, you can find me live on Twitch almost every day of the week, scheduled down below. And lastly, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.